Imagine waking up to a world where the tension in the Middle East isn't just an abstract concept reported in headlines, but a very real, pulsating, and immediate reality. Today, the stakes have risen again. Iran has stepped forward with a claim that could mark one of the most dramatic moments in decades of regional conflict, asserting that it has carried out a coordinated military strike targeting key Israeli military infrastructure. According to official statements released by Tehran and circulated through Iranian state media, the operation involved a combination of ballistic missiles and drones, carefully aimed at what Iranian officials describe as the operational backbone of Israel's air power. The claims are bold, sweeping, and dramatic. They suggest that a network of at least 13 air bases and strategic aviation facilities were either destroyed or severely damaged. Yet, as is often the case in conflicts shadowed by secrecy and propaganda, independent verification remains scarce. What we are witnessing in real time is more than just a military confrontation. It's a clash of narratives, each side carefully curating its story, highlighting its victories, and obscuring its vulnerabilities. Iranian officials have framed this strike as a precise, highly coordinated effort targeting multiple Israeli air bases, each critical in its own right. Take, for instance, Ramat David Air Base, situated in the north of Israel, a site long regarded as a linchpin in Israel's rapid response capabilities. According to Iranian reports, ballistic missiles believed to belong to the Fateh 110 or Zulfagar short-range missile family struck specific areas of the base where fighter, aircraft, and support infrastructure are stationed. These missiles, Iran claims, are more accurate than older systems in its arsenal, capable of hitting designated targets with greater precision. The assertion is that several hangars and operational facilities were damaged, though, again, independent confirmation remains elusive. Ramat David's significance is not just historical or symbolic. It is a critical operational hub for Israel, enabling quick deployment of combat aircraft along its northern frontier, a region that has long been sensitive in the context of Israel's broader security concerns. Moving south, Iranian statements have also highlighted Telnaf Air Base as a target. One of Israel's oldest and most central air bases, Telnaf, has been historically associated with advanced aircraft squadrons and specialized units. Iranian reports suggest the use of Shahab series ballistic missiles or precision-guided derivatives of the Fateh missiles capable of traveling hundreds of kilometers with substantial payloads. According to Tehran, operational buildings and maintenance zones at Telnaf suffered damage. The importance of this base cannot be understated. It has functioned for decades as a hub for command and control within Israel's Air Force network, hosting operations that extend beyond mere local defense to broader strategic implication. Then there is Nevatim Air Base, perhaps the most high-profile of the facilities mentioned. Home to Israel's fleet of F-35 stealth fighters, these aircraft represent the pinnacle of modern military aviation and form a crucial part of Israel's defense and power projection strategy. Iranian claims suggest that long-range missiles targeted areas housing both aircraft and logistical support systems. Analysts speculate about the potential use of long-range systems like the Khorramshahr or Emad ballistic missiles, capable of carrying heavier warheads to strike hardened targets. If any portion of these claims is accurate, the implications are immense. The F-35 fleet is not merely symbolic. It is operationally transformative, enabling Israel to conduct deep strikes with precision and stealth. Damage to Nevatim, even temporary or partial, could disrupt operational readiness and send ripples through the broader security calculations of the region. Hatzarim Air Base also appears on the Iranian list. Known primarily as the home of the Israeli Air Force Flight Academy, this facility is the crucible where future pilots undergo intensive training before joining operational squadrons. Iran claims the use of a combination of drones, possibly from the Shahed series and missiles, to target training infrastructure. These drones have been deployed in regional conflicts before, suggesting Tehran's increasing comfort with unmanned aerial systems as both a tactical and psychological tool. While damage has not been independently confirmed, the targeting of a training base signals an intent not just to strike physical infrastructure, but to impact the long-term human resource pipeline of Israel's Air Force. Similarly, Hatzor Air Base has been mentioned. Analysts associate this base with drone operations, surveillance missions, and missile defense support. Iranian media claims precision missile strikes disrupted areas associated with UAV operations and monitoring systems, critical for intelligence, reconnaissance, and battlefield awareness. Disruption at Hatzor, if true, would affect not just immediate operational capacity, but also the ongoing intelligence picture, potentially delaying responses to future threats. Iran's statements also reference Palmachim Air Base, a site historically tied to missile testing and satellite launches. Tehran claims ballistic missiles targeted areas linked to rocket launch infrastructure and military research activities. Analysts suggest that medium-range ballistic missiles could theoretically have been deployed, capable of carrying significant warheads designed to damage hardened facilities. The strategic significance of Palmachim lies in its dual-use capacity, a site for both standard airbase operations and Israel's advanced aerospace initiatives. Any disruption here, however temporary, touches on sensitive technologies central to Israel's strategic capabilities. Further south, Ramon Air Base in the Negev Desert, home to fighter squadrons responsible for Israel's southern operational coverage, was reportedly targeted. Iranian sources claim missile strikes impacted aircraft, shelters, and operational infrastructure. Analysts speculate on the potential use of guided ballistic systems like the Zulfagar or Desfal, given their range and precision. Again, independent verification is lacking, but the strategic rationale is clear. Ramon enables coverage over southern airspace, protecting a critical region adjacent to volatile border areas. OVDA Air Base, also in southern Israel, is cited as another target, often used for training and international air exercises. Strikes here could have implications for military preparedness and joint operational capabilities. The Iranian narrative emphasizes disruption to training infrastructure, a move that, if true, could have cascading effects on readiness and joint interoperability with allied forces. Among the most sensitive locations referenced by Iran are missile facilities, such as Statmum, sites often discussed in defense analysis for their strategic importance. Tehran claims missile strikes aim to disrupt long-range capabilities, though these claims are particularly hard to verify due to the secrecy surrounding operations at such facilities. MICH, associated with Israel's strategic missile forces, and Shams airfield, connected to radar and drone testing, also appear on the list. Radar installations are pivotal for detecting incoming threats and coordinating air defense responses, making these claims especially consequential. Haifa Air Base, located near the port city of Haifa, was included as well. Serving aviation support and military operations, Iranian reports suggest strikes targeted logistical and operational infrastructure. Its position along the Mediterranean coast gives it strategic importance for both civilian and military aviation, meaning disruptions could ripple across broader operational framework. Mahanim Air Base, hosting helicopter units, and Adarat Air Base, a historical or limited-use airfield near Jerusalem, were also named, completing the list of 13 locations. Collectively, these bases cover the full spectrum of Israel's air power: fighter jet operations, pilot training, missile deployment, drone surveillance, and strategic aerospace initiatives. Iran frames this operation as a coordinated strike using ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and unmanned aerial vehicles, launched in waves to overwhelm air defenses. Ballistic missiles follow steep trajectories at extreme speeds, while drones and cruise missiles approach at lower altitudes from different directions, complicating interception. Israel's defense systems, including Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow interceptors, represent one of the most advanced integrated networks in the world. The sophistication of these systems, however, does not guarantee full immunity. Iranian statements suggest an intentional effort to challenge this layered defense, testing response times, coordination, and resilience. The real challenge in evaluating these claims lies in the fog of war, the inherent difficulty in obtaining independent verification, and the fact that both sides have compelling incentives to frame the narrative in ways advantageous to their strategic messaging. In conflicts of this magnitude, governments routinely amplify their successes while minimizing or concealing their vulnerabilities. Analysts, therefore, must rely on satellite imagery, third-party intelligence, and open-source reporting to parse the truth from the narrative. What is evident, however, is that the bases listed by Iran constitute critical nodes in Israel's military infrastructure. Fighter jet bases facilitate rapid offensive and defensive missions. Training bases produce the next generation of pilots. Missile facilities underpin strategic deterrence. Drone and radar installations provide early warning and battlefield awareness. Each element is integral to the operational integrity of Israel's air defense and strike capability. At the same time, Israel's military is designed with redundancy and resilience. Hardened shelters, dispersed aircraft deployments, and multi-layered defense systems are intended to mitigate the effects of any localized attack. Disruptions at a single base do not automatically translate into catastrophic operational failure. Yet, the psychological, strategic, and operational pressures of simultaneous, multi-target strikes cannot be ignored. Each claim by Iran, verified or not, sends ripples through regional and international security calculations. As analysts and governments worldwide observe, the situation remains fluid, with the real measure of impact contingent upon independent verification, satellite imagery, and credible reporting over the coming days. In short, what we are witnessing is a high-stakes chess match, where each move is carefully measured not only for tactical effect, but for the broader strategic narrative it creates. Iran's claims paint a picture of a capable, assertive strike designed to challenge Israel's air power, test its air defense network, and send a message about Tehran's growing precision strike capabilities. Israel's measured acknowledgement of attacks, coupled with the lack of independent verification of extensive damage, underscores the challenge of separating operational reality from the information war that accompanies every major military engagement in the region. The unfolding situation is a stark reminder that modern conflicts are fought on multiple fronts: the physical battlefield, the intelligence domain, and the realm of perception and narrative. For observers, understanding the interplay between these layers is crucial. The military significance of each base, the types of missiles and drones claimed to have been used, and the strategic rationale behind targeting specific facilities all combine to provide a more comprehensive understanding of the potential implications. Yet, until corroborated evidence emerges, much of what we know remains filtered through the lens of competing state narratives. Even as satellite imagery and third-party reporting begin to surface, the broader context must not be overlooked. The Middle East has long been a region where historical grievances, strategic rivalries, and ideological conflicts intersect, often erupting into sudden escalations that can have outsized effect. In this light, the Iranian claim, whether fully accurate or partially inflated, is a continuation of a pattern in which both states seek to demonstrate capability, deterrence, and resolve. Each strike, each statement, each publicized target contributes to a larger strategic calculus that influences not just military planning, but diplomatic maneuvering across the globe. As we move into the final analysis of this unfolding story, it's important to recognize the layers of complexity that define it. Iran's claims of strikes across 13 Israeli airbases, each with distinct strategic significance, have sent shockwaves not only through military analysts, but also through diplomatic circles worldwide. Whether or not every claim is fully verified, the narrative itself is powerful. It serves as a demonstration of capability, a reminder of the reach of modern Iranian missile and drone technology, and a carefully calculated message to both regional adversaries and international observers. Tehran can execute coordinated, multi-domain operations with precision and scale. Even if the actual physical damage is less than claimed, the perception alone shapes strategic thinking. Perception in modern warfare is as potent as the missiles themselves, influencing deterrence, alliance calculations, and crisis management. The implications for Israel are multifaceted. Operationally, the bases targeted represent the core of its air power projection. Fighter jets, including stealth F-35S, are concentrated at Nevatim. Rapid response squadrons operate out of Ramat David. Training pipelines run through Hatzarim. UAV and surveillance operations are coordinated from Hatzor. Missile infrastructure and aerospace research are centered at Palmakim. Each of these nodes contributes not only to immediate defense, but also to strategic depth, giving Israel flexibility and redundancy in response to both conventional and asymmetric threats. Any disruption, even temporary, has ripple effects across readiness, intelligence gathering, and deterrence posture. For analysts watching from afar, the lack of immediate independent confirmation does not diminish the strategic implications of the strike claims. The narrative alone forces a reevaluation of assumptions about force readiness, vulnerability, and regional risk. On the Iranian side, this operation is presented as a demonstration of precision, coordination, and technological maturity. The use of ballistic missiles in tandem with drones, as Tehran claims, signals a strategic evolution in its capabilities, moving beyond single-shot attacks to complex, layered operations that seek to overwhelm sophisticated air defense systems. The combination of steep trajectory ballistic missiles, low-altitude drones, and cruise missiles is designed to exploit potential gaps in layered defense systems like Iron Dome, David Sling, and Arrow interceptors. Even if the strikes are partially successful or intercepted, the mere demonstration of intent and operational planning contributes to Iran's deterrence narrative, a critical component of modern military strategy, where signaling can be as impactful as kinetic effects. Beyond the immediate military calculus, the geopolitical stakes are enormous. The Middle East is a web of interlinked conflicts, alliances, and rivalries. Any escalation between Iran and Israel carries the potential to draw in regional powers, influence global energy markets, and affect international diplomatic initiatives. The timing of such operations is rarely coincidental. It is often tied to internal political considerations, external negotiations, or broader strategic signaling. Analysts will be dissecting not just the physical strike claims, but also the political message embedded within them. Tehran's communication is as much about power projection and deterrence as it is about actual battlefield outcomes. Israel's measured responses, the lack of full damage confirmation, and the careful management of public statements all reflect an acute awareness of these high-stakes dynamics. Another crucial dimension to consider is the technological narrative embedded in these claims. Iran's reported use of Fateh 110 derivatives, Shahab missiles, Khorramshahr systems, and Shahed drones points to an increasingly sophisticated arsenal capable of precision strikes over extended ranges. Modern drone warfare, ballistic missile guidance improvements, and multi-domain operational planning suggest a shift in how regional powers approach military confrontation. It's no longer just about sheer numbers of weapons or localized strikes. It's about networked, integrated operations that challenge even the most advanced defense system. For Israel, this means constant adaptation, improved intelligence gathering, and heightened readiness across multiple theaters. For international observers, it underscores a broader trend in modern conflicts: the blending of traditional air power, missile technology, and unmanned systems into a cohesive, high-impact strategy. At the same time, this episode reinforces the enduring role of information as a weapon. Both Iran and Israel are engaged not only in kinetic operations, but also in narrative operations. Each statement, each claimed target, each public acknowledgement or denial shapes perception, frames strategic discourse, and influences both domestic and international audiences. Governments in conflict often craft messages that maximize perceived success while minimizing apparent vulnerability. Analysts must sift through these competing narratives, triangulating information from satellite imagery, independent reporting, and historical patterns to assess the true scale of events. Yet even with incomplete data, the strategic lessons are clear. Multi-layered, multi-domain operations are now central to modern warfare, and the psychological dimension of perceived capability carries weight equal to tangible destruction. Looking at the broader regional picture, these events are a reminder of the fragile balance that has long defined Middle Eastern security dynamics. Iran and Israel have engaged in a series of proxy conflicts, intelligence operations, and direct confrontations over decades. Each escalation is measured not only in terms of immediate military outcomes, but also in strategic signaling, deterrence posturing, and internal political messaging. Any single operation has the potential to shift perceptions, trigger retaliatory planning, or alter regional calculations. While the world waits for independent verification of damage, policymakers, military planners, and analysts alike must contend with both the operational realities and the narrative effects. The two are inseparable in modern strategic thinking. Finally, the human dimension should not be overlooked. Each base targeted, each pilot trained, each UAV operation coordinated represents personnel, skill, and operational experience. Disruptions, even temporary, can affect morale, training continuity, and institutional memory. The psychological impact of claimed strikes on both military and civilian populations, as well as on regional partners, adds another layer of complexity. Modern conflicts are as much about human resilience, adaptation, and perception as they are about steel and explosives. Iran's narrative, Israel's responses, and the global interpretation of these events collectively shape the ongoing story of regional security, strategic calculation, and geopolitical consequence. As we conclude this analysis, the essential takeaway is the interconnectedness of action, perception, and strategic messaging. Iran's reported strikes, whether fully realized or partly aspirational, exemplify the evolving nature of military confrontation in the 21st century. They highlight the growing integration of missile and drone technologies, the critical importance of air-based networks, and the ongoing battle for narrative dominance in conflicts where verification is difficult and stakes are high. Israel's layered defenses, strategic redundancy, and operational resilience are being tested not only by the potential physical effects of these strikes, but by the psychological and geopolitical pressures that accompany such claims. In a world where perception shapes reality as much as action does, understanding the interplay of technology, strategy, and narrative is essential. The coming days and weeks will be crucial in determining not just the immediate operational impact, but the broader strategic consequences for the Middle East, global security, and the evolving nature of modern conflict.